whether Carter Page was a CIA asset. And he was, and Kleinsmith changed the answer to, no, he's not a CIA asset, because if he was, they never would have got the application approved. So they had to lie. Comey knew about it. McCabe knew about it. They all knew about it. They conspired to infringe Carter Page's Fourth Amendment constitutional right against unreasonable search and seizure. The conspiracy against rights is when you conspire to deprive somebody of a constitutionally guaranteed right. Fourth Amendment guarantees us the right against unreasonable search and seizure. And when the FBI knowingly lies to the FISA court to illegally surveil the entire Trump campaign, that's conspiracy against rights. That's a felony. And there are other conspiracy charges that I think they could look at. To me, that's a slam dunk one. So even if the making false statements indictment that Comey has been charged with, he's been charged with making false statements to Congress. Brennan is probably going to be charged, same thing. Other people will be charged with that. Whether those charges bring convictions, I don't think is all that relevant, because I think all those characters are going to be wrapped up in a conspiracy investigation, RICO, if you like. And so I think I think that's where we're going. I think we're in the justice phase, right? So Q told us there were different phases of the operation. There was the initial phase where Q was posting all this information. Like I said, YouTube links, documents, articles, declassified government documents, and all different kinds of information. All of it designed to help us piece together the puzzle pieces to paint the picture of this massive problem of corruption through many sectors of society. We have done the digging. We have helped expose this. We put it out on social media. Most of us got our YouTube accounts and our Twitter accounts and our Facebook accounts suspended because we wanted to put this information out there. That's the cost. We were such a threat to the establishment. They had to go and suspend our accounts. And I'll tell you, just my opinion. You know that somebody is a threat to the establishment if they got their accounts suspended, deplatformed, their payment gateways shut down. Those people, they were the threat. If there's somebody out there on social media who never got suspended, never had any hassles, never got their payment gateways canceled, that person is not a threat. They would have taken them down if they were a threat, right? So we did the digging, we did the exposure, we put it all on social media, and now we're getting to the next phase of the operation, which is justice. There's two phases that are coming. Justice, where there's prosecution and hopefully convictions and jail time. And then there has to be reform of the institutions. The FBI, DOJ, CIA, NSA, they have to be reformed. You know, I would love it if Cash would do what he said he was going to do. You know, let's just go into FBI headquarters, the J. Hoover building, and just burn it all down and take all the agents and fire them. We don't need the FBI. Well, I would have loved that, but that didn't happen. He did fire a lot of people, and he is reforming the FBI. He's getting rid of a lot of the bad people. He's getting the cops out on the streets. They're making massive numbers of arrests of hardcore, long-time criminal, actors. And so the FBI is being reformed. DOJ is being reformed. I have confidence that John Ratcliffe will get the CIA whipped into shape. Would we like to see these agencies go away? Sure, but it's not going to happen. They have to be reformed. That's part of the process. So, we're I hate to say it, but we're kind of past the digging phase. I've been telling the guys on the thread makers on X, who I was working alongside these guys, Brian Cates, Undercover Huber, Dawson Field, Harold Finch, all these other guys who did all these threads on Spygate. when the FBI and DOJ started putting out these documents, they were thinking, oh, we have to go back into digging mode. We have to dig and research. And piece together all this stuff and figure it all out and who's behind what. And I was like, guys, you don't get it. The digging phase is over. Trump's people are now in control, and they are going to start dropping documents and declassifying information to support the criminal charges that are coming. You don't have to piece it all together. They've got it all figured out. Tulsi Gabbard and Cash, they've got it. They have all the information that they need. They're going to make it public. And making it public, when you see Tulsi Gabbard, Ratcliffe, Cash on the TV news shows or in the White House press office like they were June, July, and August, they're preparing the American public for what is coming. They're declassifying the information that is going to support the criminal charges against all these people. That's coming. So we don't have to do a lot of digging anymore. That we're in the phase now where good people are in control of the levers of power, and we're going to get to that justice phase, and then hopefully the reform of the institutions. That's kind of where we're at. It's been a long time coming. It's been a long 8 years. Will Q return? I have no idea. I don't know. I suspect Q might return if some of these cats start getting not just indicted, but they go to trial and they get convicted, and Q gets vindicated. I don't know. Q might show up and take a victory lap and do a little bit of trolling of the deep staters. Maybe. And like I said, I don't know. I can't make a prediction of whether Q's going to come back or not. If Q does come back, of course, I will be here doing decodes if necessary. Q, the most recent posts are going back to 2022. They're still kind of cryptic. They still need some decoding. If Q comes back, I would expect there's still going to be a little bit of cryptic messaging that needs to be decoded. If it does, I'll be happy to do what I can to try to clarify these cryptic messages. I will say this, there's still a couple of placeholder posts on Project Decom's, Q's private board. So Q posts on two different boards. Q Research is the general board where the Anons go on and interact with Q and ask questions and dig and research. There's another board, is Q's private board, called Project Decom's. There's only a couple of posts on that board, and they're placeholders. And it's indictments tracking civ and non-civ. And Kevin Kleinsmith is the only name on the one indictments tracking placeholder. Is Q going to come back and start filling out names of people that are being indicted, James Comey and other people? I don't know. That's a big question mark. But the placeholder posts are still there, and they could be filled out. So, you know, some people say, oh, Q doesn't need to come back. We've got it all figured out. We have it all. We don't need any more information. Okay, well, that's fine. You can take that attitude. I wouldn't be surprised if Q does come back and maybe highlight some issues and maybe continue the operation. But, you know, like I said, I'm not making a prediction. I don't know. I have never talked to Q. I don't have any insider intel. I don't know anybody in the Trump administration. I'm just an outsider looking at all this stuff as objectively as I can and trying to piece it all together. So there you go. By the way, Q Chronicles. There are 4 books now in the Q Chronicles. And I don't cover all of Q's posts in these 4 books. It's Q Chronicles, book 1, 2, 3, and 4. They are now available on Amazon. We republished them under new titles. And the old books that were blacklisted, well, they're still blacklisted, but the new titles, good to go. So if you want to catch up on the Q operation, there's 4 books. They're on Amazon. They're on Barnes & Noble. You can get them on Apple Books, Nook, Kobo, all the ebook outlets. They're available there as well. like I said, these books do not break down all the Q posts. That would just be an insane project. I take what I think are the most relevant posts, the most relevant subjects, and it's a topical review of Q posts based on subject, and primarily based on the signature that Q uses. And a lot of people don't understand signatures. And I'll be honest, if you're listening to somebody who is decoding Q posts and they never mention Q's signatures, you should probably just stop listening to them. Because the signatures literally are the keys that piece together the posts and tell you what the subject of those posts is. And if someone doesn't understand the signatures, then they don't understand the actual subject matter of the posts. They may be able to take all the timestamps and the trip codes and and the post numbers and take all this math and do gematria, but they probably don't understand the actual intended subject matter of the post. That's all found in the signatures, right? Signatures. Iron Eagle, Speed, Snow White, all of those signatures. The Silent War Continues. There's a lot of signatures that Q uses, and you have to understand the signatures to understand what Q is talking about. What do you mean this crazy post that has a bunch of strange references, and at the bottom there's like 2 signatures, Godfather 2 and Iron Eagle. Like, oh, hang on a minute, wait a minute, I know what those 2 signatures mean. That gives me context for what the posts mean. And there's 3 other posts here that have the same signatures, and let's put them all together and see what it means. That's what I do with these books. I take the topics Q has talked about and break them down, layman's terms, show you my research, news articles, videos, all the other information, as much as I can in a book, and explain what these posts are all about. So, like I said, if you're interested, I got some books out there. And I'm working on a 5th book. The 5th book in a series, I may focus just on Spygate. Look, that's how I got into Q in the first place. I was following the Russiagate hoax. 2016, Devin Nunes, Kash Patel, House Intel Committee. They were digging into this, corruption in the FBI and this surveillance of the Trump campaign. God had me switch from primarily focusing on spiritual teaching. He had me shift to politics, and I was like, "What? The Trump campaign? Like, I don't know anything about Trump and all this stuff." I had to learn. But in 2016, the Lord had me switch over to politics. First, the Clinton Foundation, then the Trump campaign, the surveillance, and then Q starts dropping, and that's right. So when Q came along and started posting about FISA, I was like, okay, this is my wheelhouse, baby. Let's go. So I know that the Russia hoax is boring to a lot of people, but it's literally how I got my start in Q. When Q started posting about Comey and Clapper and Brennan and FISA, I was like, okay, I got this stuff. I'm just going to focus on this primarily. Other people have focused on, the Epstein drops and other things. Seems like most people have sort of their niche that they're interested in. My niche has been really the focus of Russiagate, the Russia hoax, and like I said, I may do, when I do a 5th book, I may look at the roles of people like Brennan, Clapper, Comey, McCabe, Susan Rice, Valerie Jarrett, Obama. What is their role in Spygate, Russiagate, whatever you want to call it? And what has Q said about those people in the posts that might shed a light on their role, and what might happen to them? So I'm just, it's a concept. I haven't actually started working on that book yet, but I may, especially if it looks like that grand conspiracy investigation comes to fruition. People are going to need some information, some background information about who all those people are and why it's relevant. So there you go. We are at about 44 minutes, it looks like. Yeah, I think it's a good place to shut down for now. Again, for those of you who are not aware, yes, I got my YouTube channel back. After being suspended for 5 years, YouTube channel is back. And not monetized, but at least all my old videos are there. I'm going to put up some new videos. There is a lot of information in the last 5 years that I put over on Rumble that I wasn't able to put on YouTube. So now, if you get notifications, you've probably gotten like 50 notifications over the last 2 weeks as I'm uploading all these old videos from 2020 and 2019 and 2022 and 2024. Yeah, I'm archiving all of my stuff back on YouTube the way it's supposed to be. However, you'll notice that the Q videos, 3 of them are out of order. And people are asking me like, these videos are like from 2019, they're out of order. What's up with them? Well, I'm an archivist, okay? I tried to keep all the videos in chronological order. However, when a video gets removed from the platform, if you want to re-upload it, you can't retroactively date it. It is going to be dated the day that you upload it. So that's why some of those videos are out of order, because they were removed. Let's see. What else can I tell you? I'm working on a bunch of books. You know what? Hang on a minute. Wisdom for Marriage Made Simple. This is our latest book. Denise and I sat down over the course of a couple months. She wrote her chapters. I wrote my chapters. We wrote a book on marriage. I think if you're having struggles with your marriage, struggles with dating, whether you're newlywed or you've been married for a long time, you might want to check out that book. God has taught us a lot about marriage, relationships. Everything from codependency, how to set boundaries, no-lose conflict resolution, and becoming the best version of who God has designed you to be. It's a lot of good information in that book. Again, it's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and wherever you buy your books, a lot of retail outlets. All right, that is going to be a wrap. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm glad to be back on YouTube. I am looking at the comments on the videos. I found a way the dashboard on YouTube has changed. There's a lot more features on it, but I figured out how to look at comments on YouTube in a kind of a chronological format. And if you drop a comment in there and you ask a question, I will try to, if it's a sincere, reasonable question, I'll try to answer it. Or, you can email me too. Website is prayingmedic.com. On prayingmedic.com, there's a contact tab. You can contact me by email. The email address is admin@prayingmedic.com. Our ministry website is prayingmedic.org. And if you'd like to support our ministry, we do have a donation page on GiveSendGo. It's just givesendgo.com/PM. Tax-deductible donations. We appreciate your financial support. Couldn't do this without you. It's going to do it for today. Love you all. Take care. I will catch you on the next broadcast.